Welcome to Nugget 190 with Steve Groman. We will be talking today about an article written August 3rd, 2021 from Scientific American, and it's called Future Space Travel Might Require Mushrooms. And since in the last Nugget, 189, we talked about mushrooms, and we told you we'd be talking about mushrooms, seems like that's the thing to talk about these days. And so we're going to go through this article. It's quite hilarious, right?
It is a little bit weird.
So we're just going to read through it. This might end up being a couple nuggets because it's just preposterous.
This is science.
This is science. Learning. Scientific American. Is this the number one magazine or number two? It's right up there, right?
Yes.
All right.
Mycologist Paul Stamets discusses the potential extraterrestrial uses of fungi, including terraforming planets, building human habitats, and providing psilocybin therapy to astronauts. That sounds important, doesn't it?
And this guy's found a great mushroom cluster.
Kind of a unique looking thing. A good thing we didn't see any of those on our hike.
Good thing. Bonnie and I would have gone wild.
We'd still be there, taking more pictures. That's fun. Anyway, this article starts off, the list of mycologists whose names are known beyond their fungal fields is short. Their fungal field is short. And at its apex is Paul Stamets. Educated in and longtime resident of the mossy, moldy, mushy Pacific Northwest region. We can sort of vouch for that.
The Pacific Northwest region is amazing.
It's amazing.
I know the year that we actually went to go see the Hoh rainforest, they were in a drought.
It's kind of weird walking through the whole rainforest and kicking up dust. Not what I was expecting that first time.
Not what I was, but that's just the way it goes. But anyway, he's famous for his work in mushroomology, we'll call it.
Yeah, mushrooms. He wrote a book in 2005, and it got him some notoriety. In a new astromycological venture launched in conjunction with NASA, Stamets and various research teams are studying how fungi can be leveraged to build extraterrestrial habitats, perhaps someday even terraform planets. Okay?
This is not the first time Stamets' career has intersected with speculative space science.
Yes.
Speculative space science.
That's interesting, huh?
Mm-hmm. He also recently received an honor that many researchers would consider only slightly less hallowed than a Nobel Prize. The distinction of having a Star Trek character named after him. And I know we talk about how science fiction and so-called evolutionary science is just interwoven just nonstop.
Well, they admit it themselves. The line is getting more blurry as the days go on, and they can't tell the difference between them.
Probably because there isn't a difference.
There's not a whole lot of difference there.
That's what Captain Kirk said, isn't
That's
it?
Exactly. And, well, actually, several others have said that. But yes. First, a chicken or egg question. Did Star Trek Discovery name a character after you because you had started exploring astromycology, or was the idea of astromycology inspired by Star Trek?
Well, let's stop here. Chicken or the egg?
Mm-hmm.
I know you have an article, and the evolutionist said that it was the egg that was first. And you say...
Well, I say no, I don't believe that for one skinny minute, because after all, God said he made the birds that reproduce after their own kind. The bird came first.
So it was the chicken. So if you have been living in suspense up to this moment, you now have the answer to this world-renowned, life-changing question. The answer is the chicken.
But listen how some of this is worded. It's just a strange sentencing structure. CBS got a hold of me and said the writers of Star Trek wanted to talk to me. We're in the dungeon. There's about a dozen of us. We've been tasked with Star Trek. Discovery, we're hitting a brick wall. And we saw your TED Talk. I had mentioned terraforming other planets with fungi. I want you to...
Sorry. It would be pretty. I mean, as we've been showing you these pictures of our mushrooms, and we're going to be reeling through more mushroom pictures.
Yes.
They're fabulous. God has created some amazing things. And
they do amazing things, too.
And we
They're
know
here
that they will never terraform other planets with these mushrooms. That's impossible, but this comic relief in this article is worth going through.
It is worth going through. What separates Star Trek from other science fiction, is it really pioneered the importance of inclusivity, recognizing that the diversity of members of our society gives us strength. And indeed, that's what I've learned as a mycologist. The biodiversity of our ecosystem gives our ecosystem resilience. Ultimately, diversity wins.
Of course, God designed the ecosystem. It's that whole circle of life kind of thing that they used to talk about. God has designed this earth and all of the creation that's on it to be interwoven and to work.
Yeah, to live here and eat the stuff here and breathe the stuff here.
Our bodies need what the plants are and so on.
Absolutely. Okay, go ahead and read this next paragraph here. So I told them. It gets kind of funny.
So I told them terraforming with fungi on other planets is very plausible. Seriously? Fungi were the first organisms that came to land. Munching rocks and fungi gave birth to animals about 650 million years ago. We're descendants of these fungal networks. And so that whole Uncle Fungus thing?
Yeah, Uncle Fungus really is somebody, I guess. And Maybe that's where they got the idea of tofu. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure about this,
anyway,
but
it's just something.
Nothing in that paragraph is scientific.
This is good. I said, you can have all these concepts for free. I'm a Star Trek fan. I don't want anything for this. But, I always wanted to be the first astromycologist. And at the very end, they go, astromycologist. We love that. What a great phrase. We can use that. What does any of these sentences mean? What do they mean? It's amazing. But anyway.
Well, they wanted to use the term an astromycologist
Well, I know,
as
but
one of their characters.
listen to the way this thing is written. It's like, okay. Anyway, astromycology is obviously a subset of astrobiology. Astrobiology would be the study of biological organisms extraterrestrial.
I want to interject here. We were listening to a guy on a podcast just last night, and he said something very profound. He said he doesn't think that anyone in the astrophysics field should have a PhD because they're only basing their
science.
Doctoral thesis on something that someone else wrote.
Right.
It is not scientific. It cannot be tested by the scientific method. No one's been out there to test this. It's all theoretical, and that's why they are calling themselves theoretical physicists.
Right.
So it's all like a fantasy world.
Right.
So likened it to becoming a doctor, and you've never touched a patient.
Right.
And it was like, that's extraordinary. That's good thinking, and that's what's going on.
And that's what
here.
this says. Really, you're talking about the biology of the universe, and within the biology of the universe is our fungi. Well, okay, how do they know about the, quote, biology of the universe?
They don't.
They don't. No.
No, it's just
Absolutely
it's science
not.
fiction, pseudoscience, all these definitions that we've been throwing out.
Well, look what it says. I think it is inevitable we're going to someday find fungi on other planets.
He can think that all he wants, as you say in the seminar, but that doesn't mean it's true, because the Lord said that he created this earth to be inhabited.
That's exactly right.
And Eve is the mother of all. We repeat these simple statements, but that's what the Bible says.
It's so simple, we take it for granted, don't we?
We expect it to
People
be
just-
complex. And
Exactly.
even the complexity that these guys are, it's absolutely ridiculous. It's not complex, it's ignorant.
Listen, plants that support terraforming need minerals. And pairing fungi up with the plants and debris from humans causes them to decompose into a form that then creates rich soils that could help generate foods that astronauts need. It's much easier to take one seed and grow your food than it is to take a ton of food to space, right? Nature is incredibly efficient in terms of payload. It's much better for nature to generate a payload of food than for your rocket to carry a payload of food.
We're not even going to go on to the payload of rockets, but we could do a whole series of nuggets on the problems with payloads and rocketry. But again, they're talking about nature's being efficient, and we talked about in the last nugget. God is the creator of what we see in nature and the creator of nature. Nature is not the creator.
I wonder what is this debris from humans they're talking about.
You know what the debris from humans is?
Yeah, I do.
I thought these guys took Tang and ice cream. Isn't that what astronaut food is that they sell you in the gift shop at NASA?
Yeah, you can get some.
It's gross. If you have never tasted Tang, you have missed out on something. You've definitely missed out on a 60s kind of thing.
Basically, regolith is asteroid dust. Your current research proposal with NASA has two stages. The first involves identifying the best fungal species for breaking down asteroid regolith. Do you currently have any possible candidates?
Basically, regolith is asteroid dust. Sure. Research teams have constructed synthetic regolith. Well, that's the only kind you're ever going to have. That is supposed to mimic the components that are found on the surface of asteroids and also on Mars.
Supposed to mimic. Okay.
Right. And we are going to talk about God's mimicry in nature in this series. And again, as we were talking about in the previous nugget 189, how this mushroom actually mimicked these flowers. And that was actually
it's very interesting
very
stuff.
beautiful and cool.
But this next sentence is quite scary to me. It says, I have a suite of about 700 strains of fungi in my cultural library. Oh boy. That's a lot of pictures.
I made some recommendations, and I'm happy to say oyster mushrooms are one of the best ones that we've experimented on, the regolith, so far. And I see we're pushing up against the clock, but we've got to continue on with this article. I hope you're enjoying this amusing article and also the pictures of the beautiful mushrooms that have been photographed by Bonnie White and myself. Don't forget to watch the next nugget so you can hear the rest of this article. Thank you. If you appreciate these nuggets, and if you are able to partner with us on a monthly or a one-time basis, we certainly appreciate that. The links are in the description below. Also, please tell others about our YouTube channel, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to be alerted when we post new nuggets and Saturday history and travel tips. Thank you.